Hello, my friend. Welcome. I'm so happy to see you here today. I'm glad that our paths have crossed. I wanted to talk about something that has been weighing on my mind the last couple of days, and I've just been turning this thought over. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube, articles online, and lots of things in social media over the past few years, I think, that have covered the topic of what to do, how to handle feeling lost in life. And I've always thought that that's kind of an interesting choice of words. When we say feeling lost, we're often talking about comparing our life, our progression in whatever chosen career or chosen path we have begun on, comparing it to someone else's or to a standard for what perhaps our path should look like. And feeling like we have not made the mark, we have not reached that level yet. And perhaps it hasn't happened within the certain time frame that we hoped it would happen. Or maybe we're looking for a certain level of success and we haven't achieved that in the time frame that we thought we would, and therefore we feel lost because we're watching other people do that. How? Through social media mostly, through the internet mostly. Maybe we know some people in person, but most of the time it's these images that are generated online, and we're watching people have success, whatever their definition is for them, and we're adopting that as the collective vision of what success should look like, and we feel lost because we haven't made it to that point in the path. And so in a very real sense, what is being lost is I feel like I must not be on that path correctly. I must not be on the correct path. I must have diverged somewhere because I have not arrived to that point yet. I feel lost because I'm comparing my path to someone else's, essentially. When we think of it in the most real sense, we are comparing our path to someone else's in order for us to feel lost, because if we're just comparing our lives to our own life, we can't really feel lost because we have no benchmark with which to measure it. That's what really hit me. I've heard a lot of videos and articles and blog posts talking about, self-care, ways you can be more gentle and loving with yourself, ways that you can lead and guide yourself with better clarity. And all of that is wonderful. Don't get me wrong. All of that is absolutely fantastic. We should be loving to ourselves. We should be gentle with ourselves. We shouldn't be too hard on ourselves. We shouldn't beat ourselves up because it's not beneficial in any way. It doesn't help us in any way. And in a spiritual sense, it damages us, right? Emotionally, spiritually, it's not good. But I think it goes so far beyond that. It goes so far beyond just let's be gentle with ourselves and realize we need to take time. Everything takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day, that sort of thing. It goes beyond that, in my opinion. It goes to the benchmark. What is the benchmark for each of us individually, and as a society? Where are we setting that benchmark, right? And I can't speak for every culture and society. I can only speak for the one that I'm in currently, because maybe for you personally listening, you might be unfamiliar with some of this. Maybe your culture and society, maybe where you live, some of these concepts I'm talking about aren't as talked about as they are in North America, say, Europe, whatever. I think a lot of Western society rotates around these ideas of setting a particular benchmark of success. And maybe that looks like achieving a certain level of income, or a certain level of education, or being married, or having children, or having this perfect house in this perfect area, in this country, in this state, whatever. And then we compare ourselves to that benchmark, and we're like, well, I'm not there. So now I feel like my life is kind of aimless because I haven't gotten to that point. And all of it has to do with positioning. how we are positioning ourselves within this mental landscape of what success is. And most of what we have in our minds about this topic, if not all of it, is a collection of things and impressions that we have gathered over time that have created this mental landscape in which we now position ourselves and then our idea of success and the distance in between us and that. So that's what creates that lost feeling, is simply our impressions that we've gathered over time of what success should be and where we drop that pin. Here's success, here's where we are, here's the distance in between. I'm not there, I feel lost, I feel aimless, I'm not sure what I'm doing with my life. Now, the problem, you might ask, well, what's wrong with those definitions of success? Maybe I want to have a level of income like, such and such, or maybe I want a house here. There's nothing wrong with those things at all. They're totally neutral things. There's nothing good or bad about them. I think the issue lies more in that if you look at anthropology in general, how the evolution of human thinking and cultures and all of this stuff has transformed rapidly and in so many ways over time. In so many different cultures, you have different ideas of successes and of what success is. And if you rewind to different time periods, like let's go back to medieval times, right? Medieval Europe. The idea of what a successful life looked like then is quite a bit different than what successful life looks like today. People in that snapshot of history were going after different things. They were striving for much different things than what we are today. That's why you can go through a museum and read about these things and say, oh, wow, that's kind of archaic that they did fill in the blank. But yet that thing at the time was so important to them. They based their culture around these things, rites and rituals, and growing from childhood to adulthood was all dependent upon these certain things that maybe now are obsolete. But yet to them in that time period, at that moment, that was a successful life, right? So that changes over time, and it changes in this very vague way. Influenced by so many different schools of thought, so many different people, politics of the time, and accident, some of it. So it's this very blobby, vague thing, how we choose to define success and how that changes and morphs over time, that when you pull back and look at that, it's like, wow, we're making ourselves miserable, trying to strive for this current snapshot of what success is, this ever-changing thing that's based off of vague, changing opinions of people we'll never meet, and maybe even people who don't have our best interests at heart. It's an ever-changing thing. So why are we basing our journey off of the journeys of others? And off of something that's so vague, so hard to even describe or even point to where exactly it came from, that version of success. Why are we banking on that? That benchmark is moving all over the place. And if we try to keep up with that, what happens is that happiness that we're looking for never actually comes. We get to the benchmark and then it moves up and we're like, oh, or it goes that way, or it goes sideways, or it goes this way. And we're like, wait a second, I did all this work to try to get to that level, and now that moved and I feel lost again. This is why I think there's so much material online about this feeling lost in life, feeling like life is passing you by or you're not where you're supposed to be. The reason so many of us feel like that at this huge level, so many of us, is because we are basing our happiness, our level of success, off of this benchmark that's ever changing, ever moving, so vague, so blobby, and it's hard to even describe how it's working. We have no idea how this thing functions, and yet we're basing our happiness off of this idea of success that's ever changing based on a million different opinions and the passage of time and what's in style, what's out of style, what's trending. Don't base your happiness off of this. I think we need to pull back. We need to look at, why are we placing so much value on this? Why are we positioning ourselves within this mental landscape? It's a purely mental landscape. It only exists in your mind. And that alone is liberating. It only exists in your mind. Success, we dropped a pin here. Here's success, here's me, I'm not there. Why do we do that? And where we drop the success pin, is it even from our heart? Is it even from what our spirit is telling us it should be? Or is it from the passage of time and history and what we've been able to sort of glean from that and accumulate from all those impressions as, okay, this is kind of success. I'm going to put that there. Now, where would I judge myself on a scale from failure to success? Where would I drop the pin that is me? Why are we looking at ourselves this way? So I think if we pull back and really tap into what is my vision, not even so much of success, what is my desire and passion? What is my spirit leading me to do? And I think oftentimes we'll find that doesn't even have to do with just us. It has to do with what is making the world a better place, what is helping others. All of that's going to be tied into your own personal dream. I think that's important. I think that is really our truest desire, is to help those around us, to help the earth, to help make this a more beautiful manifestation of reality, right? I think that is much, much closer to what our personal manifestations should look like, rather than judging ourselves and beating ourselves up for not reaching this version of success that was created by an ever-changing society, by people who may not even have your best interests at heart, like I said. So what's your personal dream? What's your personal desire? What is it that makes your heart hum? What is it that when you do it, you feel like you could do this forever? What are those things? That'll be a good indicator. That's a good guide right there, because really that's the voice of your spirit, I believe, personally. That's my personal thought on it. And I think the more we can pull back from these impressions, like I said, mental impressions, what we are feeding our minds. What are we feeding our minds? Because just like our physical body, we are what we eat, that old expression, meaning what you're putting into your body is what's fueling you forward. Same with your mind. What you're putting into your mind is what's fueling you forward. What are you spending time on? And if you stop spending time on those things, would it give you a different perspective on the world? Would it give you a different perspective on yourself? Sometimes we just need to stop. We need to stop reading all these things, looking at all these things, comparing ourselves to others, and spend some time, okay, land here now. Who am I really? What is my spirit guiding me to do? And tap into that, because I believe there's infinite wisdom within. And the more we can unfold and blossom to open to that, the better off we're going to be. And that opening is slow, just like the blossoming of a flower. Just let it happen. Be patient with yourself, but become aware. I think as we become more and more aware of these things, of our personal dream versus just impressions from society, the more we can actually begin to manifest our truest self. So these are just a few things I've been thinking about. I feel like I may have ranted a little, just a tad, little tiny bit. I hope you got something out of this. Tell me below about your unfolding. How's your path going? What have you been learning lately? What is your dream for how you want to unfold in this current season in a way that will help you, help others, help the world? Just share your thoughts with me below. I would love to hear them. I have a new book coming out, so if you're interested in hearing about that, sign up for my emails with the link down below. If you liked this video, share it with someone who you think might benefit from it. Click subscribe, of course, so that you don't miss my next upload. And if you feel drawn to support in some way, you can check out all my books below, or my Patreon, which is also another great way to support. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here, my friend. I wish you so much joy in your journey, and I will see you in the next video. Namaste.